Well, welcome. I'm Augie Sabini, and I'm the worship associate today. I use the pronouns he and him, kind of loosely applied. We gather in worship to find meaning and live more deeply. Worship creates connections within, among, and beyond us, calling ourselves to be our better selves, calling on us to live with wisdom and compassion. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your vision of the holy, we're glad you're here, really. If it's your first time with us today, we'd love to get to know you better. Right after service, you're invited to our welcoming room back there, which is located at the south entrance. And if you're online, the link for our questionnaire will be dropped in right now. Now, you can use your phone to access a copy of our worship order of service with one of those weird things. We also have larger print copies for people who have difficulty using those weird things. And there you will also find the names of authors, composers, and sometimes lyrics to our choir anthems. Now, this is the best part. Let's take a minute to greet our neighbors, especially if you've never seen them before. We light this chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, with words from Melanie Davis. Thank you, Addie. Under the right circumstances, playing with fire is a delight. Imagine being gathered around a fire pit as the crackling flames invite us to sing, dance, roast a few marshmallows. Our chalice also invites us to play, although we play with ideas rather than marshmallows. The flame encourages us to explore who we are, who our neighbors are, and where we are on our spiritual journeys. Today, we light this chalice in the spirit of delight. Let us trust the light to guide us in this hour and in the days to come, finding joy along the way. Now let's say the words of our mission statement. By love, we transform ourselves and guide our world. Well, June is the month with the most light. It's the month when we see abundant flowers. It's the month when students receive their reward for all their work and children are turned loose outside. No wonder the theme is delight. But in June, we are also reminded of that some of us struggle and are still struggling for inclusion and peace. Juneteenth reminds us. Pride reminds us. But last Sunday, we were treated to a giant helping of the beauty those strugglers have created. And we delight in that beauty. So come, let us worship together.
Well, hi, my name is Molly Mae Culligan, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm a bit tech behind. I don't have a printer at home, so I'm going to see how this goes, and if I lose my page, it goes blank, randomly asks for a code, I will just break out into song. It will be terrible. I promise. When Rev Jen asked me if I would be willing to give a reflection on delight, I looked at the upper right-hand corner of the room and wiggled, which is what I do when I'm thinking, and I said yes. Delight is such a fun, full, and wonderful word. Delight as a noun is a high degree of enjoyment and joy. I thought yes again, and I told her, I have built a joyful life. I can do this. Upon thinking later, I told my brain that my reflection on delight would be about the life I have built after the death of my daughter. The way I have done all this healing work in such a joyful, though very reverent way, creating delight for myself and those I walk beside, because let's be honest, often amidst great sorrow is when delight or joy can shine the brightest and is most visible in contrast. But when thinking of my Ellie, I thought of being 29 at her death, and I knew that wasn't when it started. Was it when I was young, I thought, and then I began to wonder if I took delight and therefore joy upon myself as a coping strategy. I thought back to my childhood, and I realized I had. So much so that when I was in my late teens, I went to clown college and set about performing as one, being happy. And everything about my clown persona was gentle and pastel and calm and as safe as you could make a painted face person be for small humans. I didn't learn the term toxic positivity until my more recent adulthood. And over the last week, I deeply examined, as much as you can examine in a week, if there could be any toxicity in my approach. I didn't find a lot, though I see I have gaslit myself here and there in survival. People say I am a cup half full kind of person, but in reality, I'm more like, oh my God, it's a cup! Can you believe it? Look, you know, that's the kind of person I am. Brilliant, delight squared, and then I'm reminded I love math and mathematical crossword puzzles, and now I should read. Anyway, or honestly, I'm more of a randomly jumping up and down and flapping my arms kind of person. One who, when it rains, decides to figure out just what kind of rain it is. There's a lot. And the particular hue of the color in the sky, in that moment only. All the while cleaning up something the weather absolutely destroyed. Deciding that the way the rain has damaged my, whatever it may be, clothing, my hair, when I was painting my house once, and once when I re-roofed, was the way it was always meant to be, and I have always been this way. In my thinking, though, I realized something new in my life that really showed me how delight can reappear. I love elephants. I love a lot of animals, though I don't love zoos, and I comfortably thought I knew all I needed to know about them, or as much as one would be called to know. Last fall, I began hanging out with my friend's mom, who has since become my friend, and her favorite animal is an elephant. And about 6 months into spending my weekend evenings with her, we watched a nature show together. It was a series that took you to see elephants in different parts of the world. My friend delights in elephants, and when I began watching them with her, it began to change for me. I noticed they all have different shapes of ears, and some have these bright, and I mean bright, yellow eyes. They're small and quiet, where others are large and very loud. Sharing my friend's delight in something I already knew about transformed my experience of it, and it happened right in front of my eyes. I now see elephants differently. I also now think of my friend every time I see one, and because of how much I care for her, I feel happy and they mean more. I think this is what delight is to me in my 50s. Bearing witness to something with another and seeing their delight, the shared delight transforming me and my experience. Like the way I really looked at the ocean for the first time after showing it to my 13-year-old godson who had never seen one before. I was 28 when that happened, and I have yet to look at the ocean and not see his utter delight. Delight for me is in community and shared joy. It is here. Delight for me is my godson dropping to his knees and openly crying. As with everything I ponder, I do circle back to the loss of my child, mainly because if I did choose delight prior to her death, I chose it with a casual heart that didn't have much work to do, or rather did the work it needed before it knew what was to come and what work could look like. When I chose it later, in the after, as I call it, and I like to say, it is the single most mindful thing I have ever done before or since. And that continues into every morning, into this day. I remember telling my very first support group when I was a participant two things. One, that I was not a survivor, I was a thriver. And other, that if grief came in waves, I would surf. I said that in all my love and naivety. And I have since come to know that I am a survivor who is thriving, and that I can be both beaten by waves, sucked under, and pummeled by them and still swim. Thank God. Delight is in waking up and elephants that move so silently you cannot hear them even though they weigh a literal ton. Elephants also live near the ocean, or rather travel to them. Delight lives in the elephants and the ocean, and I live in everything I see, and someday, I think, I will live in what we cannot see. I'm not sure, though, and I'm delightfully waiting. Thank you.
My name is Tina Dio. I use she, her pronouns. If you are hard of sight, I am a white woman in my late 30s, 5'6"-ish, and I'm wearing a green dress with a rainbow stole. And this is our time for joys and sorrows and our meditation time, quiet time. And you are welcome at any point during this service to share your joys and sorrows in our joys and sorrows area over here. You can light a candle, you can write your joy or sorrow in a book over there, you can put a rock into water. And then if you're on Zoom, you can write your joys or sorrows in the chat, and that will be open for a bit longer until we have some more reflections on delight. And I am your ministerial intern for the last Sunday, and I have been delighted to be here with you all this year, and I am sad to leave, but it's never goodbye. It's just see you later. So let's enter into a time of meditation this morning together. So get comfortable however you would like, and as I read these words, you can reflect. So in the name of all that is good, strong, and beautiful, we name all of our joys today. We also name all of our struggles today. It is a joy to embrace the sunshine. Yet we also know we need the summer rains just as much. We feel a connection to the earth around us, and we know we need to protect it to protect us. We also feel connections to each other. We celebrate joy with one another. We lament with one another when we are suffering or grieving. We seek change together. We seek justice and equity together. We are community together. We are messy yet beautiful. We are multi-generational and multicultural. And we give thanks for this community and the beacon of light it is in our lives and the wider community here. Blessed be, and amen.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Liz LaVenture. I'm a transgender woman in my 70s. I'm wearing red with grayish hair, 5'11"-ish, average-ish weight. My pronouns are she and her. Without hope, instead of feeling delight, one feels only despair, hopeless. We need hope now more than ever. What has come to be known as the Hope Speech was given by Harvey Milk on this date, June 25th, 1978, 45 years ago today. This is an excerpt from that speech. My name is Harvey Milk, and I'm here to recruit you. I've been telling that joke for years. Let's look at 1977 and see if there was indeed a move to the right. In 1977, gay people had their rights taken away from them in Miami. But you must remember that in the week before Miami and the week after that, the word homosexual or gay was in every single newspaper in this nation, in articles both pro and con. For the first time in the history of the world, everybody was talking about it, good or bad. Unless you have dialogue, unless you open the walls of dialogue, you can never reach to change people's opinion. Once you have dialogue starting, you know you can break down prejudice. Like every other group, we must be judged by our leaders and by those who are themselves gay, those who are visible. For invisible, we remain in limbo, a myth. The anger and frustration that some of us feel is because we are misunderstood, and friends or allies can't feel the anger and frustration. They can sense it in us, but they can't feel it, because a friend, an ally, has never gone through what is known as coming out. I will never forget what it was like coming out and having nobody to look up toward. I remember the lack of hope. And our friends, our allies, can't fulfill it. I can't forget the looks on faces of people who have lost hope, be they gay, be they seniors, be they blacks looking for an almost impossible job, be they Latinos trying to explain their problems and aspirations in a tongue that's foreign to them. I use the word I because I am proud. I stand here in front of my gay sisters and brothers and friends because I am proud of you. And the young gay people in the Altoona, Pennsylvanias, and the Richmond, Minnesotas, who are coming out and hear Anita Bryant on television and her story. The only thing they have to look forward to is hope. And you have to give them hope. Hope for a better world. Hope for a better tomorrow. Hope for a better place to come to if the pressures at home are too great. Hope that all will be all right. Without hope, not only gays, but the blacks, the seniors, the us's will give up. If you elect more gay people, that gives a green light to all who feel disenfranchised, a green light to come forward. It means hope to a nation that has given up. Because if a gay person makes it, the doors are open to everyone. So if there is a message I have to give, it is that I have found one overriding thing about my personal election. It's the fact that a gay person can be elected. It's a green light. And you have to give people hope. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Heidi Gould. My pronouns are she, her. I am a 54-year-old woman wearing a teal dress and glasses, and I have silver and turquoise bobbed haircut with very blue bangs. Typically, I take great delight in attending the Saturday market. On Saturday, May 6th, my son and I went to the Saturday market and encountered quite the crowd of demonstrators occupying the 3 of the 4 quarters of 8th and Oak. Of those demonstrators, they were the very pro-life demonstrators with their very large, very graphic posters, and also a crowd of very extreme right Christians, one of which had a megaphone spewing his idea that, all of us who support LGBTQIA or are gay of persuasion that everyone's going to hell. I was very overwhelmed with this crowd and with the message that was being very loudly spewed. Also, we noticed a very active police presence who were running from corner to corner trying to prevent any what could be physical violent incidents. There was also a youngish person there with a megaphone dressed in support of the LGBTQIA community. He too had a megaphone, and he was sharing, let's say, announcements, and he would say, when I say gay, you say power, and he said gay, and I said power. And my son who was with me was terrified. He is on the autism spectrum, and he was like, no, we will not engage. We are not here to participate. We are here to get my kombucha and go home. So that is what we did. We got his kombucha and went home. But I must admit, I have a strong case of FOMO, which for those of you who don't know means fear of missing out. So I went home and donned my rainbow gear and went back. And it was very challenging. It was a very challenging incident for me. I went there, and so there are the demonstrators with their message of hate, and there were we'll say protesters to their message, the pro-choice people who had their big signs saying, keep abortion safe and legal. And it was just very chaotic and very confusing. And I went back and saw that the market manager was having a conversation with a police officer, sergeant, somebody or other, and his advice was just ignore it. Just ignore it. Just tell everybody to just ignore it and they'll go away. And the market manager was also trying to come up with other, maybe more effective strategies of, they had built a little booth that was not manned just to take up space. And maybe we could move some planters to the corners, and maybe we could do these things, because basically it is a first come, first served basis. If they get here early and in numbers, they're here. The officer said they're not doing anything illegal, unless of course some physical violence breaks out, and there was nothing they could do. I was overwhelmed with the conflict of following his advice and just ignoring it, or I heard in my voice as a decent human being and as a good UU, I heard that quote that goes something like, evil succeeds when good people do nothing. So I did my little stint and stood in front of the guy who was standing in front of what I call the rainbow guy with his megaphone. And I felt ridiculous, and it just didn't work. There's got to be a better way. I gave rainbow guy, he is the one with the megaphone who was pro-LGBTQIA, I gave him a hug. And I said, you know, the officer said, it was like, the best way to do this is to just ignore them. Just ignore them. And he looked at me and said, stop. Just stop it. And I was heartbroken and crushed. I stood there crowd watching for a while and trying to figure out what the hell was going on in my head. And then I went home crying, feeling as though my allyship had been revoked. I thought, what can we do? Well, first of all, being there all by myself was the silliest thing I'd ever done. I thought, I need my UUs with me. So the delightful outcome of this day is the idea of our July social action. I invite all of you to come to the Saturday market and share in your yellow shirts the good word of volunteerism. Maybe if we get there early and we just stay there and we share the word of volunteerism, why it's good for the volunteer and why it's good for the community, and provide lots of opportunities to volunteer in the community. That way we can occupy that space and share a good word. Since that day early May, I hadn't been back to the market until last Saturday. Tina and Rev Jen and I went and did a recon mission. I was glad to hear that those demonstrators had not been back since that day. Yay! Rainbow guy actually ended up getting punched in the face that day, which might have culminated in it. But I'm glad that they haven't shown up since. But it's still a great way for us to get together and share the good word, not only of volunteerism, but of UUism with the community, and just delight in building beloved community. I hope to see you all there. Thank you. July 8th, Saturday, July 8th.
Good Good morning, everybody. I'm the Rev. Jen Youngsun Rue, and I'm delighted to be here at the end of the service with you today. I use the pronouns she and her. And Tina, would you be really embarrassed if you just kind of stood up here with me? Would that feel very, very awkward?
Okay.
Is it all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as Tina said, today is her last Sunday with us, although she'll be here in the office for the remainder of the week. So if you want to drop by and say hello, she'll be around. The staff and she will be partying all week, basically. With her, yes. And certainly not because we're happy to see her go, but in celebration and thanks and so much gratitude for the life and delight and liveliness that she has brought to the staff and to this whole community. And so I want to publicly, oh my goodness, I want to just publicly thank you for being my partner in ministry this year. It has meant so much to me. You have been not only fun, but you've been really inspiring to me and to this whole congregation. So of the many, many things that I appreciate about you, Tina, is the way that you have shown leadership. So you have shown leadership by being upfront, loud and proud, vocal, insistent about what is right and what we need to do and what is wrong with the world. You have just been so clear in the things that you've been passionate about and the things that are so important to us as a community. And so you have no problems just being out in front and leading from that position. I've also felt your leadership as kind of a nudge from the back, right? So a little nudge here and there. You have come up with lots and lots of ideas, and I know that we haven't been able to implement all of them, but I promise that they've been heard, and they are good, and they are really good ideas, and they were important for you to say, you know, to nudge us along into the modern day and into the future. Into the future. And then another aspect of your leadership has been when you just come alongside, and you've been so great at collaborating with people, and always, always, as a part of your nature, you're always thinking about who's not in the room, who haven't we invited, whose voice are we not hearing, and you do that naturally without thinking. You just feel that, and what a huge gift it has been, and it'll continue to be a gift in your ministry. And so thank you for bringing people along and walking with and traveling with and rolling with all kinds of people. Many of you may not be aware, but Tina has done some amazing pastoral care work, and this is work that's done quietly and off-site sometimes, and on the phone and in quiet conversations one-on-one. And these are not the public parts of ministry, but I know that you have made a huge difference in many, many people's lives. So I appreciate you and love you very much. Wish you the best. So. So Tina's going to be leaving Eugene in her old truck. Hopefully it'll make it. She's going to be road tripping for several weeks, and we thought, what better gift to give her than just a bunch of cash, which will be really, really appreciated. But Also, notes and cards, little drawings will also be very much appreciated. So whatever you can give and drop in the box, we will appreciate that. We're going to have cake for you right after the service. Nothing but cake. Yeah, thank you, Bob, for that. I think it's in your favorite flavor, red velvet, too. Yeah. All right, I think we're ready to close.
And I just want to say thank you to all of you for this collaborative work that we've been doing and that you guys will continue to do. And as you continue to support interns in the future, you guys are a wonderful congregation that has done that, and I'm most appreciative. And this couldn't have been a better placement with all the work that you guys are doing, the Committee on Right Relations, the collaboration, the justice work. You guys are awesome. And I just, my words of going out are continue this awesome work, and I will see you in the national level, I'm sure, at General Assemblies or other areas. And I am your partner in this movement, in this work we are doing forever and always. So thank you all, and keep spreading your delight and joy in the world too. Woo. And we will extinguish our chalice, and Augie will extinguish our chalice. So let us say our extinguishing words together. Extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And my last benediction words, during our time with cake, I just want to say, I will be giving out Stardust glitter blessings and this little blessing bookmark, and you can take this to Pride with y'all too in August. So please come and receive a glitter blessing if you'd like. I have some glitter and Q-tips wherever you choose on your body. If you don't want glitter, that's okay. We all don't like, not all of us like glitter, but we can all give these blessings to each other as well. So take one of these, get a glitter blessing and some cake. And the words of the blessing are, remember that you are made of stardust, born of the infinite creativity of the universe. You are whole, holy, and good and loved. We rejoice and give thanks that you are shining your light and sharing delight in this world. Amen. May it be so. Peace.